Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last series of the day for StageX. If you're here for the first time, welcome. We've had an absolutely incredible day so far, and we're going to keep going. So I am thrilled to welcome Deborah Quazzo onto the stage. Woo! To celebrate our EdTech Hall of Fame Award winner. So please give me a warm welcome in welcoming Deborah Quazzo to the stage. For There's no monitor.
Huh? Okay. Good evening. Thrilled to have everybody here, and I am absolutely, completely thrilled to be honoring a man I have known for many decades, and I can vividly picture standing in his startup office in Brooklyn, which was a pretty rundown little hovel, as he was beginning to build what became a very, very, very successful business. This is the first time ASU+GSV has recognized an EdTech Hall of Fame winner. We will have more to come. It is a very high bar, and I'll kind of walk a little bit through why that is. But it is just a tremendous honor to be presenting this tonight to Larry Berger. And following the presentation, Larry and Ruslan Ali will come out and engage in a full conversation about Larry's history. Ruslan sits on his board, and I'm so very excited for that conversation. Larry is a two-time EdTech founder. First, and technically I'd say it's two, he might tell me it's 2.5 or whatever, but it's first founding Wireless Generation in 2000, and then Amplify in 2010. He has stood out for over 25 years as a leader in education, not just education technology, but a leader in education. He truly, truly understands the concept of a double bottom line. First and foremost, education technology has to serve students and teachers and parents and deliver high impact results. Larry has always led with that belief since I knew him, those decades ago. An EdTech founder has to serve the market first. Then a founder actually has to build for scaled impact and long-term sustainability. And Larry has done just that twice. First with Wireless Generation, where he served over 3 million students, transformed the reading record for those who remember, and now with Amplify, where he has a broad curriculum offering that's been truly disruptive. And Amplify serves over 15 million students. As many people know, and you maybe have learned it the hard way, I know I have, achieving success even once in this very, very demanding market is very low probability. It is very hard to achieve success, and he's done it twice in both those arenas. He is a deeply talented educator and academic, and equally sophisticated as it relates to building great businesses and raising capital and recruiting and leading extraordinary teams, and all those things are critically important. And we are lucky to have a unique example from one of our GSV team members, because behind every one of his successes is a classroom. During COVID, when Amplify made its science curriculum freely available, teachers everywhere felt the impact. In the words of Lucy Baldwin, who some of you may know, she leads our program team brilliantly here at GSV. She was a third grade teacher at the time in TFA. Her students didn't just use it, they loved it. They were engaged, they were curious, they were excited to learn at a time when that felt incredibly hard. That's the difference between building a product and truly serving a classroom. In a field full of big ideas, Larry has always stayed focused on what works and who it is for. Please join me in welcoming Larry Berger to the stage.
Thank you. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll take some pictures. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Take that. I don't know, where's the picture?
Are we doing it the
I
right?
got my room key on the ground.
All right.
I don't know who's taking pictures. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Get Ruslan out here.
Oh, my room.
And now we'll be joined by Ruslan Ali. And I'll take this from you.
Okay, excellent.
And let you all commence your conversation. Ruslan, come on.
All right. Hello, Ruslan.
What a gift. How are you? We'll take another picture. We'll do another picture.
All right, one more picture.
All right, we'll do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
What a gift that I get to talk to you again like I've done for the past 20 plus years.
Yes.
And every single conversation I have with you, I feel like a better person. I don't say that lightly. And it is a pleasure and an honor to watch you receive an award that, as big as it is, still minimizes, I think, the impact and what you bring to the field, because no one award can represent what you've done over the last 20 plus years. Now, when I first met you, again, we're going to date ourselves, there was a little Palm Pilot and a stylus.
Yes.
And you were very eager to show me all these things you were doing to empower teachers. And now, as Deb talked about, you have evolved not just one company, but two. Amplify now serves, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right, half of the children in these United States, plus some, experience at least one Amplify product.
That's about right.
That is remarkable. Remarkable. Let's talk about that journey.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's like a little bit good to win a Hall of Fame award, but I did have to ask Deborah, most Hall of Fames require athletes to retire
Nope.
before they get in the Hall of Fame. And so I wondered if there was a subtle hint, and as a board member, I just want clarification. Okay, good.
We're not having it.
She reassured me that it's more the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where you can be an aging rocker and still get in.
Well, you will reinvent as you've done.
Okay, well, thank you. Look, it's been an amazing journey, and it's great to be out here with you. And I think there have been a few themes of it that are just, I really like building stuff for schools. And a lot of times people have asked, did you have a strategy? Did you see it unfolding? And I think the strategy has often been to ask if there's something that schools need, that especially teachers are missing, or that some moment where we're asking teachers to do something that is just too much to ask, and just to have the fun of building it and then see what happens with it. And I feel like I've been doing that work for 26 years now, and it's really still unfinished business. So I'm glad to know this isn't a retirement ceremony.
Well, you're a maker, without a doubt. I think one of the things that makes you so special to me and so many others is the values that you bring to this work, both in how you make, but then what you do with the making. Deb talked about what happened in COVID. I recall Katrina, when their young people just didn't have any student records. And you, without being asked, ensured that every one of those young people was going to have records. They would get to Houston, and their experience would be frictionless, despite a pretty massive tragedy in their lives. There is some version of that I have witnessed with you nonstop for a couple of decades. And so as I think about your success, for sure, it's the mind, it's what you make, it's what you manage. You've been a maker, a manager, a maker. But you infuse it with a set of values that has been unwavering in this space. So as much as education transformation requires real patience, and you have exhibited that, the special magic sauce is about what you bring to the work. I can't imagine that's been easy to hold the line on.
First of all, I hadn't thought about that moment when Katrina hit, and we had the honor at the time. It was the first time we were serving a big district, and it was New Orleans, and we were just getting started in serving our first big district, and then Katrina came, but we did kick into gear to say tens of thousands of kids' early reading records are going to need to go where they're going, and in most cases that was Houston, in some cases it was elsewhere. And that issue of like, are you allowed to take student data and move it across lines, especially when the district isn't functioning? I remember a lot of drama in that. And but thank you. I mean, it's funny. I think of Ruslan as, when we think about like values and fighting for things in education, Ruslan is kind of my hero, and and someone I've learned a lot from. I don't always think about the work we do in terms of values. I have a lot of employees who would like me to write out the values of Amplify, and I feel like the values have a lot more to do with making great things for teachers, making great things for students, And then figuring out what do schools need, and when they ask, figuring out how to jump into action and give those things to them. And the values kind of follow from those convictions, but I think it's always been the fundamental one is making things that speak to the aspirations of educators, and then just listening. Like, what are they asking? And so often, they're telling you what they need, and I think our industry hasn't always been so great at listening.
But how have you been able to do that? Because that takes time. It takes continuous iteration on every product based on what you're learning from the field.
Yeah.
How does that play in a world where, in most tech industries, we're flipping companies, right? We are fast.
Yeah.
The work that you have done has endured, not just between companies, as the way that Deb addressed, but Amplify alone. I mean, when the MBO, when you bought Amplify, when you bought your company from yourself, you had 600 employees, and now you have upwards of 2,000. So that kind of patience and growth and value speaking, there's something else in that. What advice do you have to the folks in this room that want to be able to guarantee that kind of monetary success, but also do it knowing you're doing the right thing for the right people all the time?
So I think the secret to not getting flipped from buyer to buyer is if you avoid profitability for a really long time, then they just can't really figure out.
Oh, speaking of values, I also know he didn't earn a salary for a really long time.
No, in a certain way, I think we have been a company that has had the opportunity because of patient investors, and in some sense, it's really that we've had remarkable folks, including Emerson Collective, which Ruslan is a leader at, have that folks who are patient, who are trying to do something big over a long period of time, and are willing to take whatever early success we have and invest it in the future of the products and services. Right now, we're in a moment where in a lot of places, the model is take whatever the profitability is and use it to service debt to buy and buy and buy. And I think it is hard once you do that to maintain the kind of patience that it takes to tinker and adjust and get a product or a service or a relationship with a district to the place that it needs to get to. It's a kind of patience, and it's one that, frankly, only a few investors are willing to have, and I've just been somewhat methodical about finding them and working with them, and it's part of my gratitude to Ruslan is that she enabled this, she and the organization she represents enabled this chapter where for now 11 years we've been in a position to keep building value and investing what we earn into the next generation of product.
Well, that was because of the quality of the work. I mean, I like you and all, right? But that was about the quality of the work. Every step of the way, we have seen improvement in student outcomes from every product that you make, whether it's hands-on science, whether it's early reading, now going into high school math. And so and those relationships that you're talking about with districts are real relationships. They are not transactional. They don't come easy. I've watched many a superintendent that you've been working with really rely not on your products, but on what you can do to help them be better at their jobs. And so, but that's a lot of time. That is, yes, it's about patience as a company, but it's also about a sacrificing as a leader to forge those authentic relationships and keep them.
Yeah, some of it, I really like school people. Like, I was checking in and I met a superintendent of a small district and I was like, can we just hang out? Because I'm not sure I'm ready to do all this networking that is happening here. And we got to hang out for a little while. And to some extent, I think there is a moment also right now where a lot of like, is there a frictionless way that you can get your product just downloaded into a district and never have to have a complex conversation about what that district is trying to do? And I think we've both sold the kind of products that require that conversation, but even when someone just finds us and wants to buy it, the business of showing up and listening and asking what's hard for them and what are their aspirations, it's just a conversation I like to be in. It has turned out to be, I think, good for the growth of the company, but it's sort of how one learns what the next generation of products have to do, what the real aspirations are. And very often there's like a moment when people are buying something in a procurement process, and it seems like what they're buying is that checklist of features. But underneath that is something aspirational. It's something that they dream about for the kids that they serve. And unless you're in the business of listening to that and making those things, you're missing an opportunity to deepen that relationship and maybe to build the products that people need.
That's right. So it's the feedback loop. It's not networking for networking's sake. You are listening and learning.
Yeah.
I've also seen you become, as I mentioned earlier, you've gone from maker to manager. It feels to me like you're in a new making phase with the same company. Perhaps that's because of AI and how difficult that conversation has been in our field, but how important it is for our field. So how do you move between those roles and still innovate and see the next thing ahead?
Yeah. So some of you may have heard that that AI is having an impact in education, and so I do think there's one of those moments where, for a while, Amplify was building something that I knew would be a 10-year journey, and focusing on shipping it and improving it and getting it to scale was the whole focus. And while it might have been nice to take a breather, the set of transformations that are underway seemed so profound that I promised my board I would write one of those convincing CEO memos about what we would do about the future of AI. And board meeting after board meeting, they would say, "How's the memo?" And I'm relieved that I didn't write it, because I think I would have said a lot of things wrong a year ago. But at some level, what was really going on is I didn't think it was a set of pronouncements. I thought it was a set of experiments, a set of tests, a set of things we needed to try to build and figuring out what the future of education is. There is this vision that preoccupies me, and I've never known if it is something that I actually experienced or I never did, but somehow the story has a reality to it, which is a classroom that, at least in the version of it I'm in as a little kid, and a butterfly comes in the open window. And there's this moment when, like, all the kids and the teacher are silently transfixed by the wonder of this butterfly flitting through the classroom. And no one says anything, but the thing that is remarkable, the thing that sticks with me, is the idea of absolute collective attention on something wonderful. And the feeling that I have had over the last year is there's all kinds of remarkable capabilities that AI has, but I keep feeling like when I go to see the things, they're all killing the butterfly. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like they aren't actually cultivating it, keeping it alive. And of course, the butterfly, as it, in my memory, eventually flitted out the window after landing on the pencil sharpener for a while, is two things. It's not just a symbol of wonder in the moment, it's also a pollinator. It literally lets 1,000 flowers bloom. And that idea that if you can cultivate one really great moment of wonder, you are at the beginning of 1,000 next moments in learning. And I just wanted to figure out, is there something we can do with AI that is about keeping the butterfly alive? And my board said I could spend 6 months largely not running the company, which many people in the company would say, it's not the first 6 months that you've done that. But I have a remarkable team that runs it better than I, and to really work on that. So I'm a couple months into it. I don't have any answers, but it is exciting to be back in that mode. And I do feel like it's a cliche to say we're at an inflection point, but we are. And there's a lot to discover about what the future holds, and it feels new again.
Which is, again, your remarkable journey. The managing part, though, because you don't go from a few employees to over 2,000 with only growth on the horizon by just being a maker. And the managing part is really, really hard. Some might argue it's harder than making. So how have you done both of those things successfully in the infinite loop?
I think I have been really good at finding team members. Luckily, I can't see them, but who are better at managing than I, and I am. I think I have been pretty good at delegating a lot of authority to their ability to do this work, and I think we've tried to make a place where people working there for 15, 18, 20 years is not uncommon, and so there's just a level of collaborative team that has been improvising together for a very long time and has a set of convictions about what it means to serve a school district, what it means to put out a quality product. And then just, there was a moment that someone explained to me, you have enough products in the market, the next product you have to ship is the company that supports them. And as soon as it was explained to me that way, I started to do a little work on the company, understood my own limitations, and have had the great honor of working with a lot of remarkable people who know how to operate and are somehow chasing a collective North Star that we try to keep it all about.
Well, you've done it quite well, and you've also, back to values, from the day I met you, wireless generation to now, each and every kid has been your focus. Whether we would frame it under the auspices of equity and closing the achievement gap, or just because each and every kid matters so much to you in the company. But what you've been able to do is transcend the false barriers around geography. So you are as successful in Texas as you are in California. That is uniquely rare in this space, especially now. How do you manage that?
It's a remarkable challenge right now because there's a lot of forces that are asking any educational publishing company to become the blue educational company, to become the red educational company. And if you did that, there would be a lot of forces that would be like, great, finally someone who's willing to serve our values. And pretty soon, educational publishing could start to look a lot like cable news, where you get to live in your own echo chamber. But when America was in its first century, people came to study, how do these 50 states not live at war with each other when over in Europe we start another war every 50 years? And the answer they figured out was most of America was using the same textbook, and that they were learning shared values. They were learning a shared body of knowledge. And so it's been a real value at Amplify to say, as much as it might be tempting to go to one side in any moment in a great political debate, the importance of trying to serve all kids with the possibility of a shared understanding of our history, the knowledge that we have as a culture, so that we can go into a future with some shared ideas about how to live together has been pretty fundamental to us.
And key to your success, because you aren't pandering, right? What works for any kid works for all kids. What you've also, though, been able to do is really lead the field when it comes to science of learning, science of reading, infusing science in your products, and ensuring that you up the rigor, and personalized, adaptive products that meet kids where they are. That requires a kind of constant iteration. How do you do that at the same time that you're looking forward to a long future?
I think most of that is still this activity of listening. It is tempting to want it to be that the product you've worked so hard on is just what the schools needed. But teachers, if you sit with them for 10 minutes, will tell you what a great job you did. And if you sit with them for 20 minutes, we'll start to tell you what you got wrong. And if you stay in their school for a week, you can watch it go wrong. And that actually is where the beginning of, like, how do you keep iterating? How do you keep improving? And and then, yeah, being willing to do the research internally. Amplify has an unusual number of PhDs in learning science, just because the need to keep testing and evaluating and trying to understand not just like, did test scores go up, but what's the real impact of this on teaching and learning? What kinds of behaviors are happening in the classroom as a result of what we're trying to bring to it? And so that sort of fascination with reading the research, because of the hope that we can find things that work better for all kids, and then doing the intricate improvement research that is, how are these products working with different populations of kids, and are we, what could we do when we see places where real results are happening? What are they doing, and how do we get that to everyone?
Well, speaking of your values, and speaking of being better after a conversation, this is yet another one. You are a teacher above all. Maker, entrepreneur, super successful businessman, but a teacher in your heart. And that is one of the biggest lessons I've learned from you, to always teach, to always listen, to always be true to who you are.
Well, thank you. And I really want to thank Ruslan, who has been hero and role model to me, and really sort of
Okay, I'm not getting the word, and we're over time.
Wait,
let's go.
I do want to thank...
We gotta go, we're over time, it's 0.00.
All right, but I do want to thank Deborah, who
Yes.
essentially when we, it wasn't glamorous like this back in the day. It was a very small number of people in a pretty cheesy hotel conference room, and she stuck with building this industry.
And she would say what I say, it's 0.00.
And did it with values and real commitment.
This way, Hall of Fame.
We gotta go.
Hall
We
of
gotta
Fame.
go.
Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
All right. Up next, we're honored to welcome one of the most influential voices in education and community transformation, Jeffrey Canada. Jeffrey is president of the Harlem Children's Zone and founder of the William Julius Institute. I got it. He'll be joined by Rosa Flores of MS Now, an accomplished journalist known for bringing depth, clarity, and humanity to the issues that matter most. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Rosa and Jeffrey.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. And you know, Jeff, I had this whole thing prepared about what I was going to say to introduce you and everything, and we got to talking back there, and I'm throwing that out the window because you know him from the Harlem Children's Zone, and you've probably watched the 60 Minutes interview and all of that, and I asked Jeff, wait, you came out of retirement, tell me the story. I think you need to share the story.
Well, I hope they're ready for this story, because I had to tell Rosa, this is just true. So I was retired for 7 years, and people told me I would hate it. I loved it. I mean, I just loved it. I've been on call 365 days a year for 25 years. The later it is, the worse the call. I'm retired. If I get a call at 9 o'clock, it's my grandson. He wants $100. I can handle that. So I am happy and relaxed, and this is true. God woke me up in the middle of the night and said, you've got to save another 1 million kids. And my wife is a minister, and I woke up, I said, honey, look, I just was ordered, I got to save another 1 million kids. And she said, let me get this straight. You got no job, you got no money, you got no staff. Good luck with that, all right? In 3 months, I had a job, I had plenty of money, and I had a great staff. And one of the things I've learned, if God wants something to happen, it's just going to happen. So I am back, fully loaded. But this is the other thing. This is the other thing I told Rosa, which I didn't understand. I wasn't back more than 3 to 4 weeks before COVID hit. Then I knew why I was summoned. Because what happened to our children during COVID is something that I just don't think people understand what it means for children to lose 1.5, 2 years of school and then to send them right back to school and act like nothing happened, and all of us are going about our lives as if these young people's lives weren't traumatized. And I realized if we don't do something really different in this country, we're going to lose a generation of children. And they're going to be talking about, oh yeah, that's the COVID generation. That's why those kids can't concentrate. That's why so many of them have mental health problems. And I know this is going to happen. And I am, I told my wife I wasn't going to be the angry black man today. But I'm kind of angry because I don't think people are taking this thing seriously. And we, in this country, if we don't protect our children and save them, then we are going to undermine the basic principles of democracy in America, and I just won't see that happen.
Now, Jeff, I want us to dive into that a little deeper, because to be honest with you, when I first learned about you, I was like, why can't we just clone this man and place him all over the country and fix this problem real quick? So how is it that you're going to be actually able to save these 1 million children?
So this is one of the challenges. So, okay, we're on 60 Minutes. I'm saying, there's Anderson Cooper, and he's talking to an economist from Harvard, and Jeff has eliminated the achievement gap. And I was like, okay, the word is out. Everybody's going to come. Nobody came. I'm like, wait, all the failing schools in this country, and no one's coming in saying, how did you do this? And part of what I understood was we have placed the burden of dealing with severe and intransigent poverty on our schools as if they are going to solve all the problems that poverty creates. And it just doesn't work. It's not fair. And the worst part is, if you look at the average superintendent, they get 3 years. If you don't solve it in 3 years, you're out. And they bring the next person in, and they get 3 years. This has been going on and on and on. These problems are deep and complicated, and we said, no, it's going to take us 5 to 7 years of steady work to see the results of this work. And right now, we are opening up our doors to superintendents. This is our second superintendent's cohort that we have. They're coming in, not just to learn what we're doing at the Harlem Children's Zone, but there are other people all over this country that are doing terrific things in place-based work, working in neighborhoods. And I can take them to see what's going on in San Francisco. I can take them to see what's going on in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Spartanburg, South Carolina, that there are places that this is working. But Rosa, one of the things I say, education is the only business you don't need patent attorneys. Because you can't give away a good idea. No one's trying to steal your ideas. And so what we're saying to folks is, after decades of failure, let's come and find some tools that work, and let's change this. Let's teach schools how do you collaborate with other entities, other organizations in your community. They say, Jeff, how you do it? Yeah, we run schools. After school, about 75, 80% of my kids are with me till 7 o'clock at night. Saturday, starting in October, we have Saturday school. All July, so this ain't like no mystery thing. And I go to people and tell them, they say, yeah, let me see, you talking Saturdays, you talking summertime? No, there must be another way. I don't know another way. And part of what we're saying is, you school don't have to do it on your own. There are partners in your community that are yearning to come in and help work with those kids. We've got to think about how do we begin to create these opportunities where we bring folks together and we make sure these young folks have an opportunity to experience the American dream.
I love that philosophy because it always comes down to hard work. There are really no shortcuts. You can't say, oh yeah, we're just going to shortcut this and it'll be great and we'll be solving all the issues. It usually involves hard work. I want to ask you about intergenerational poverty, because that was one of your goals, and to end intergenerational poverty. And to be honest, I'm one of those poor kids who grew up on a dirt road in South Texas. And it bothers me to no end when I hear people say that poor people are lazy and that's why they're poor, or they're dehumanized because they're poor.
Yes.
And I grew up with the hardest working people, the most creative people. You figure out how to dress your family, you figure out how to put food on the table. The most creative people come out of that pool, out of necessity. So I wanted to ask you about how to tackle those systemic failures that keep our society in poverty.
So here's something that we figured out early. It's hard to save children if their parents are going downhill. And folks keep thinking, well, there's kids, but if that family is falling apart, if no one is going in, to provide support for young people, this is typically what you'll see in lots of underperforming schools. You'll go into a classroom, you'll see 12 kids really paying attention. You'll see 4 kids over there, they're just nodding, they're sleeping. These kids over here, they laughing and joking there. And you know what the teacher says? I'm gonna teach the ones who wanna learn. You know what I say? Why are those kids sleepy? Go do a home visit. Find out, does this parent know their kid needs to go to bed and they need to get up on time? And how come these young people, we know they're hungry, how come no one is doing anything to help? So this idea that it's the kid's problem. If you don't study hard and learn, that's on you. I grew up like you. I know what it's like to grow up and you don't have breakfast. I know what it's like to be in the wintertime and there's no hot water and you can't take a shower and you go to school and you don't look good and you don't smell good and people are looking at you all funny. I know what that feels. There is so much, I think, obstacles, so many obstacles for young folks in poverty and their families. And you're right, hardworking people, salt of the earth people, but no help. And what we said is, why can't we bring help? Let's just bring help. If you're struggling, we're gonna help you. And that's what the zone is. It is about, we say we work with 10,000 children, and we do. But we work with 10,000 parents also, because we try and make sure those parents know what it means to actually help and support their young people and what the resources are in their community, because no one's telling them. If you got a 13-year-old who's severely depressed, don't want to get out of it, well, you go to their home, you find often there's a mom who's depressed too. So you're going to help the kid and forget about the mom? That doesn't make any sense. But schools aren't designed to do that, right? They're designed to work with the kids who are there. We said, let's come up with a new paradigm where we think about the whole family. How do we support this family so that this young person has a chance? And sometimes that means taking care of essential needs. Food, transportation, sometimes emergency help. Most of my families, $300 ruins their life. I don't have $300. Why didn't you? I couldn't. My car broke down. It cost me $250. I couldn't go to work. I lost my job. Really? With $300? No. We'll give you $300. Get the car fixed. I mean, look at what we're going to have to do when you lose your job. All of the welfare payments. Fix the stupid car and let the person go on and keep their job. That's how we're thinking about this work.
The Olivia Pope of education. Just fix it.
Wait, I watch too much Scandal, so don't.
But that gets me to thinking about taking what you did in Harlem to scale around the country for those million kids. Where do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for you?
It's interesting. I would have told you 3 years ago that the biggest challenge would have been the capital markets to do this work. This work is not cheap, but relative to, here's a couple of things I just need folks to think about, because they say we spend about an extra $3,500 on a child per a year. This is not school costs, it's outside, it's all the after school. And people have come to me and said, oh my goodness, Jeff, really? $3,500, can't you get that number down? Because do the math. No, that's what it cost us. In New York City, do you know what it costs to incarcerate a person for 1 year? I will tell you, y'all don't know, because it's crazy. It's not 100,000, it's not 200,000, it's not 300,000, it's not for $550,000. And if you think in New York City, that mayor's race wasn't won on law and order. And how many folks are we going to lock up? You spend $500,000 for nothing. You don't get people who can hold jobs. You don't get people who are connected to the community. We are willing to spend $500,000 on that person when he turns 18, and you don't want to spend $3,500 on a person when they're 6. And I just don't get the math, and there's something wrong with the way we're thinking about this work.
I wanted to ask you about the emotional toll on some of these children and on the teachers who are working in these communities, and what your approach is when it comes to the emotional part.
Yeah. You know, we have a full complement of social workers. In each one of my schools, I have a full doctor's office, a dental office, that we're like, you know, I won't say the university. Someone said, Jeff, I want to do a grant with you to see if fixing kids' teeth and cavities will improve their math and reading scores. And I said, excuse me, you want to know if filling cavities so kids don't hurt is going to improve their reading and math scores? And I was like, well, that's ridiculous, right? We want our kids to get regular cleanings and dental hygiene so they never get cavities. That's what you want to have, and have a relationship with your dentist. So many poor kids, that's the last thing because it's so expensive. So we said, we're going to provide that service. Part of the challenge, I think, is we have created a set of circumstances where kids honestly feel like they're not going to make it. You know, the idea of waiting for Superman came from me being a little boy in the South Bronx, in the middle of a place that I knew kids didn't survive. And I told that story that I was, you know, a big comic book fan, and when my mother told me that Superman wasn't real, I started crying, and she thought I was crying because there was no Easter bunny. But I was crying because no one was going to save us. And when I realized we weren't getting out of that place, I know people look at me and say, oh, Jeff, you got out. Yeah, but I had 3 brothers. Only 2 of them got out. And my wife is from Harlem. She had 3 brothers and sisters. None of them made it. When you see me getting so upset, I know what happens when you let children grow up in places that most of us wouldn't be caught dead. Places where they say, don't go there at night. Places where folks go, oh my goodness, look at this. Young people who are growing up like I was growing up, they know what the expectation is for them. So if you want to know why we cleaned up Harlem, we created parks and playgrounds and got rid of the filth and the trash. I wanted my kids to come out and see a beautiful community that looked like the adults cared about them, and that's what we were trying to do. The trauma that kids face growing up with the just indignities of poverty is something that we try to eliminate in our zone. People want to come. I'm going to give some secondhand clothes. I got some secondhand toys, not for my kids. I buy my kids new clothes and new toys. I want them to feel like somebody cares about them, right? This idea that you're poor and you're needy, it gets into your DNA. And part of what we're saying to our kids is, no. This is a different opportunity for you all. You all are going to all be successful. I have to tell you, Rosa, so in our schools, our kids have a creed. And at the end of the creed, they say, we will go to college, we will succeed. This is our promise, because it's called Promise Academy. This is our creed. So I bring my young son, he was maybe about 12, and all the kids come out the classroom, and all of them say it in unison. And my son looks at me and says, Daddy, you're brainwashing these kids. I said, yep, that's exactly what I'm doing. But listen to this. In 2 months, we'll have our graduation for our kids. For the 5th year, we'll have 100% of our kids college acceptance. And you know what the last thing those kids are going to say? When they stand up, they're going to say their creed for the last. And they've been saying that every year they've been with us. And it becomes true. All of them are going to college. So when the juniors and the sophomores and others say, oh, so that's what this place is, huh? This thing is real. You begin to give kids a sense of hope that there's a way for them to make it out of here. And I think that's what we have to do.
And for the call to action, I wanted to ask you about your fierce urgency of now is how you reference it. What does it mean?
Yeah, well, something's going on in our country. It's not good. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of pointing fingers. There's a lot of saying it's their fault. People don't understand this is not an urban issue. It's not a black-brown issue. I go to rural America, I see the same exact challenges. I go lots of places that folks don't even think about, and you see, oh yeah, they're dealing with the same thing. This is what I believe. If we don't prepare this next generation for real jobs that pay a living wage, we're going to end up with a country we're not going to recognize. And I am really worried about this. You know, you hear all this stuff about AI, they're going to take jobs, and I'm saying people are not taking this seriously. People aren't really thinking what's going to happen if these folks don't have jobs. Well, William Julius Wilson, the institute I created, the reason I called it that is he wrote a book called When Work Disappears. And what that did was study a group of folks, mostly African Americans, who came to Chicago for jobs, became middle class and working class, and then all those jobs left. And then you got the drugs, you got the crime, you got the mental health problems, you got the child abuse. And what he said is, in our country, if jobs go, there is nothing holding that community together anymore, and it falls apart. And so I'm looking at what's happening. I'm saying, hey, guys, I wanna pull the alarm. This thing is real. It's happening right now. And this group of kids, this TikTok generation, this group that's used to everything being instantaneous, we are not preparing them for what's to come. This last issue, so Harvard teaches a case. At the Harvard Business School, they teach a case on the Harlem Children's Home because our CEO, Kwame Owusu-Kessie, he went to the business school. So I'm there because I haven't seen the case, and the professors are talking. And one of the persons says, you know, we don't do 90-minute classes anymore. I said, why? Yeah, the kids can't concentrate for 90 minutes. Did you talk about kids in the Harvard Business School? Yeah, no, we don't do that anymore. That's over. And I'm like, if these kids are struggling, what's happening to the rest of Americans' kids? And this issue is happening to us right now, and I need folks to understand that this is our country, that we should claim this back. If we can go out and spend $1 billion a day fighting a war that nobody understands, why can't we save America's children?
Amen to that, and I think that's why the divine woke you up in the middle of the night and said, you gotta save another 1 million children. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Canada, give him a final round of applause.
That was amazing. All right, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We have a special announcement from the Raspberry Pi Foundation. So please welcome me in coming to the stage, Philip Colligan, CEO, and Sophia Muhammad, Executive Director.
We've got music.
I know. We gotta wait.
So hi, I'm Philip Colligan. I'm the Chief Executive and President of the Raspberry Pi Foundation. We are a global non-profit focused on enabling all young people to realize their full potential through the power of computing and AI. We work across 3 domains. So we help schools and teachers teach kids about computer science and AI through curriculum, free and safe software, and professional development that supports teachers to build their confidence. We inspire young people to create and get hands-on with technology through the world's largest network of code clubs, engaging over 250,000 young people every month. And we undertake original research into the teaching and learning of computer science and AI literacy, and we use the knowledge that we generate through that research to inform our own work and also to elevate the whole field. As you can probably tell from my accent, we started life in the UK, but we're now a truly global organization. We have teams in the UK, in Ireland, in Kenya, South Africa, India, and here in the US. But more than that, we now have partnerships with mission-aligned nonprofits in over 75 countries around the world. And every year, we support tens of millions of young people to develop the skills, knowledge, and mindsets that will enable them to shape the world they want to see through technology.
I am Sophia Mohammed. I am the Executive Director of the Raspberry Pi Foundation in the US. We are an established 501c3, and I lead a team of outstanding educators and community managers working with school systems and everyone to really support students build foundational understanding of computer science and AI. We develop standards-aligned curricula and classroom resources with a particular focus on integrating CS and AI with core subjects. We work directly with school districts as well as national and state-based networks like the CSTA to support teachers with professional development that combines subject knowledge with effective pedagogical approaches to teaching CS and AI literacy. Tens of thousands of US educators have taken one of our online courses, and all of our curricula include hands-on creative learning experiences where students turn their ideas into real projects using free software that is designed to keep them safe and also protect their privacy. And already, thousands of schools and tens of thousands of students have engaged with our integrated computer science teaching and learning resources designed for elementary and middle schools.
So today we want to talk to you about Experience AI. It is already the world's most widely used AI literacy curriculum. It's based on original research into AI literacy, trying to define what it means, and was co-created with leading industry experts with our partners, Google DeepMind. It is intentionally cross-curricular and provides everything that a teacher needs to bring the excitement of AI into their classroom, including real examples of how AI is already changing the world. Crucially, it isn't about teaching kids how to use AI tools that we have today. Experience AI aims to provide a foundational understanding of how AI technologies are built, how data is used to train models, the opportunities and limitations of AI applications, and crucially, the societal and ethical implications of these technologies. So far, we've trained over 30,000 teachers in 40 countries, and those teachers have delivered Experience AI lessons to over 3 million students. In fact, I checked just before I came on stage. It went up from 3.1 to 3.4 million students in the last week.
Yeah. So the exciting part, the exciting part is today we are excited to share that Experience AI is available in the United States for the first time. We've localized the curriculum for US classrooms, so that means the language, the examples have been adapted for US communities. And we've also aligned the curriculum to key national standards, CSTA, Common Core, ISTE, and GSS, to name a few. But this is not about just the content, right? It's about giving teachers the opportunity and the confidence to teach AI literacy and bring it to their students. We're so delighted to be partnering with organizations like Google.org, Broadcom Foundation, and Infosys Foundation, and many more to support teacher professional development across the country. And we'll be announcing more partnerships over the coming weeks and the coming months. So if you are inspired to get involved in supporting the movement for AI literacy, let's get in touch. We want all young people to have the skills and the confidence and the mindsets to actively shape the age of AI. And it has to start with their teachers. You can find out more at our website, www.experience-ai.org. And I want to reiterate that the materials, the training, the classroom resources, the software are free today, and they will forever be free. Thank you.
Okay, up next we've got the power duo coming on the stage. Tiffany Taylor, president of ASU+GSV Summit, and Julia Heiser, SVP of Community and Program. They are going to kick off the Education Innovation Showcase, one of the many amazing initiatives that they lead at ASU+GSV. Please give them a warm welcome.
Well, welcome to the 2026 Education Innovation Showcase. As Michael shared, my name is Tiffany Taylor, and I have the pleasure of serving as the president of the ASU+GSV Summit, and I am thrilled to be with you here tonight, and thank you for joining us, to everyone here in the room and to everyone joining from home.
And I'm Julia Heiser, Senior Vice President of Community at ASU+GSV. Tiffany and I are beyond excited to bring this event back for its 4th year at ASU+GSV.
We are incredibly excited that the showcase this year is presented by Squirrel AI Learning. They are supporting because they believe in empowering educators to unlock every student's potential. By celebrating bold ideas and real-world impact in schools, the showcase aligns with their mission to advance personalized learning and fostering collaboration across the global education community. So when our judges deliberate later on, you'll get a chance to hear a little bit more about their innovative work.
Our showcase is also powered by some incredible partners: CombiR Catalyst, Digital Promise, Educating All Learners Alliance, Leap Innovation, Ties Ecosystem, and Transcend, who have generously provided prizes for the finalists and the winners. We have some incredible judges from each of those organizations that I'm going to ask to stand as I introduce them. We have Ami from CombiR Education. We have Shayla from Digital Promise. We have Aurora from Innovate EDU. We have Jessica from Leap Innovations. We have Jolene from Squirrel AI Learning. We have Jenny from Ties. And we have Dr. Kelly Withers, Superintendent of Rowan Salisbury Schools and the winner of the Transcend Trailblazer Award. Thank you, judges.
Yes. So folks, tonight, this room truly belongs to educators. Across the country and across the globe, hundreds of educators submitted bold ideas designed to solve real-world challenges for our students and our communities. From these submissions, 10 finalists were selected, 5 for the idea category and 5 for the impact category.
Tonight, you'll hear a 1-minute introduction from each finalist. Then we'll invite the top 2 in each category to deliver a 3-minute pitch. After that, our judges will deliberate, and then we'll celebrate our winners. Let's begin with our idea finalists.
Good evening. My name is Tony Barton. I am the CEO of E.L. Haynes Public Charter School in Washington, D.C. I am here because our current approach to innovation is leaving certain students out. My nephew is one of those students. Isaiah is a student with autism who was pushed out of his public school into a segregated setting where he would come home every day and say, "Why can't I go to a normal school and be a normal kid?" Across the country, we are investing in innovation through things like STEM labs, maker spaces, but the students who could gain the most from those state-of-the-art experiences are those who are most likely to be left out. At E.L. Haynes, we are fundamentally redesigning what those innovation spaces look like. And so typically when you think about STEAM, you don't think about students with disabilities or neurodivergent learners. And so as we work to be DC's first pre-K to 12 STEAM charter school, we are building the Haynes Inclusive Learning Collaborative, which is a system of co-taught learning environments where the needs of neurodivergent learners and students with disabilities are put at the center. Access, rigor, and creativity are all designed together as a part of the experience for those students so that all students have access. My push is that we stop designing for some students and we start designing innovation for all students.
A Across Tarrant County, Texas, most parents believe that their child is on track, yet less than half of students are actually proficient. This disconnect is why we decided to bring learning to the community, serving over 300 families, helping parents to truly see and understand their child's progress.
Now, we're expanding that work through the Mobile Brilliance Van, a traveling learning lab that brings real-time insights, hands-on learning, and family coaching to places like the library where families already are.
Children learn and explore while we capture real-time data.
And families leave with clear and simple guidance as to their child's strengths, gaps, and next steps.
We turn data into understanding.
And understanding into action.
Families keep coming back because it works.
Our goal is simple. Equip every parent with clarity and every child with a strong foundation. Infinite Minds is not waiting for families to come to school. We're bringing schools to families.
Imagine trying to learn to read without a teacher. For blind students across the U.S. in public school systems, 84% of these students, that is their reality. There is a critical shortage of specialized teachers who can teach blind children. Our children have access to literacy.
The industry's answer has been digital devices that cost thousands, rendering them completely inaccessible for the students and families that need them the most, creating a devastating learning divide. Students who can't afford these tools are forced to live in an unconnected world. At Perkins, we're shattering that barrier with the Perkins Braille Bloom, a small, powerful, connected device that clips right on to the 400,000 Perkins Braillers already in households today, instantly turning this mechanical piece of hardware into a connected learning platform for just $300.
Suddenly, a child is no longer learning alone. They receive real-time feedback. They connect to remote instruction. They have a teacher anytime, anywhere for a fraction of the cost of existing solutions.
This isn't just a product. It's a shift in what's possible. Because when a child can read, they aren't just learning. They're gaining access to the world. Thank you.
My name is Mike Felton. I'm the Executive Director of the Grace Innovation Center at St. George Municipal School Unit, a small rural school district of about 300 students serving the town of St. George in Mid-Coast, Maine. St. George is a traditional Maine fishing community of about 3,000 year-round residents, and we're developing the nation's first pre-K through 12 career and technical education, or CTE, program. Last summer, we opened the Grace Innovation Center that has shop spaces for boat building, woodworking, and metalwork, and a makerspace with 3D printers, laser cutters, CNC routers, robotics, and sewing machines. We believe that every child should have access to hands-on, minds-on technical learning connected to career and community. This isn't about adding a shop class to the schedule. This is about transforming how we teach by integrating CTE across grade levels and disciplines. It's about reimagining our schools, workforce, and local economies by rooting innovation in people, place, and community. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alina Zachary Ross, Superintendent with Assistant Superintendent Carlos Lopez. Now, have you heard concerns about students having challenges with the changing AI world? Well, the real issue is that 70% of our K-12 scholars felt unprepared for the AI-driven workforce, and we found a solution. Our AI Youth Ambassador Program. See, they're not just passive learners looking to cheat, they are leading the way. We are leveraging the brilliance of our 4,000 youth. This initiative transforms our scholars from passive learners to creative innovators, teaching them to use AI as a partner ethically. Now, the impact is remarkable. Our ambassadors are driving AI literacy with a 40% increase in our engagement across the district. And we know that people support what they help create. So we've prioritized the diverse voices of our scholars, and we've shaped an inclusive culture and humanized the AI experience by putting our scholars in the driver's seat. Partner with us. We are calling for co-conspirators. Say yes to YCS.
Thank you to our incredible idea finalists. It is not lost on us what you do day in and day out for students, educators, and communities. So we are so grateful for you to be here and for us to be able to fully acknowledge the innovative leaders and teams behind you that make it possible every single day. Our judges reviewed all the submissions in advance and selected 2 teams to move forward to the live pitches. So if I call your name, please step forward. Our first finalist is Infinite Minds. And our second finalist is Perkins School for the Blind.
All right, congratulations. Let's give another round of applause for all of our finalists. All right, Infinite Minds, your time begins now.
At Infinite Minds, we serve every family who comes to us, meeting them in libraries, apartments, and neighborhoods, and supporting learners across ages, abilities, and levels.
During a math session at the library, Ariel, a mother of 2 sons with very different academic needs, asked a simple but powerful question. What should grade level learning actually look like for my sons? Through our learning snapshot, she was able to see and understand her son's progress in a way she hadn't before. She observed the learning in real time, built trust with us as educators, and began seeking ongoing support. She returned again and again. Ariel's experience isn't unique. It reflects what we consistently see across families.
Families leave our sessions not just with an activity, but with clarity, a real understanding of grade level expectations, where their child is, and what to do next. These experiences reveal a deeper need. Families want accessible, ongoing support that traditional school models don't always provide. Since we cannot enroll every family at our school, we reimagined what that support could look like.
Introducing Infinite Minds Mobile Brilliance Van, an innovative traveling learning lab that brings real-time academic insights, hands-on learning, and family coaching directly into trusted community spaces. It ensures that what families believe about their children's progress finally aligns with what's real.
The Mobile Brilliance Van is a low-stakes, high-value learning and data hub, bringing assessment, tutoring, and parent coaching directly into the community. It functions as a mobile learning studio where students engage in real learning while parents observe in real time. As students work, we capture data and guide parents to understand strengths, needs, and how to support them at home. Families leave with clarity and next steps.
Using evidence-based reading and math diagnostics, we pinpoint each student's skill level in real time and share the data through tools like Google Gemini, giving families immediate clarity on strengths, progress, and next steps, along with personalized activities to support learning at home. Because it's immediate, families can understand it and use it and continue to learn beyond the session. We're already seeing a core group of families, parents move from uncertainty to clarity, and students demonstrate growth that carries into their school learning. We're equipping families with truth, tools, and timely support.
Our goal is simple: equip every parent to be an informed decision maker and ensure every child builds a strong foundation, starting with our youngest learners.
Infinite Minds Mobile Brilliance Van, where data meets dignity and learning meets families where they are. Thank you.
Have you ever had a blind or low vision student in your classroom? Did you know that in the US alone, there are more than 73,000 students who are blind or have low vision? And more than 90% of those students are educated in public school classrooms. Now imagine trying to teach that student how to read, but you don't know Braille yourself. How do you support them? Right here in California, there's the largest amount of students who are blind or have low vision. And these students have access to a school, but their learning is not straightforward. At Perkins, for 100 years, we've known that learning to read and write means learning Braille, and that requires specialized teachers, instruction, and equipment.
The developed world's answer to that problem has been high-end Braille displays that cost $5,000 to $15,000. But when a solution costs as much as a car, it's not a bridge, it's a barrier. It renders literacy completely inaccessible for the students and the children and families that need them most, creating a devastating learning divide, where if you cannot afford the tool, you do not gain access to the world, completely blocking your path to success from elementary school. At Perkins, we're shattering that barrier, with meeting students exactly where they are, with the Perkins Braille Bloom. This small but powerful device clips onto the bottom of the Perkins Brailler, which are in 400,000 households worldwide, instantly turning a mechanical Brailler into a connected learning platform without creating a technological overhaul. It just requires you to use the device that you already know and love.
The Perkins Braille Bloom is a revolution built on a century of expertise from Perkins. We took together our 100 years of teaching Braille and then a year of deep collaborative research with families and experts to help inform our design. It is the ultimate bridge to accelerate learning. It removes the barriers, translating Braille instantly to text on a phone or a computer. There's no complicated steps, just a simple way to stay close to your learner as they bloom. Literacy should be accessible to all and full of fun and enjoyment and engagement. Through our free companion app, students can practice skills through gameplay. Imagine being a pop music, Pokemon-loving 10-year-old and learning feels as exciting as a front row concert or a legendary battle. From music-themed lessons to gaming-inspired Braille challenges, we are building to a day where AI-powered instruction is hyper-personalized, so every child's unique spark is what lights their path to literacy. That's the world that Perkins is building.
This isn't just a product, it's a shift in what's possible. We're turning a 75-year-old Brailler into a digital gateway for people who are blind, unlocking independence and opportunity for every child, regardless of your zip code or your school's budget. Because when a child can read, they don't just learn, they find their place in the world. Thank you.
Thank you again to our IDEA finalists. Please make your way backstage. As we turn to Impact, please join me in welcoming our Impact finalists to the stage.
Hi, I'm Jill Rogier with ASU Prep. Across the country, families are looking for smaller environments and more personalization when it comes to school, and educators are stepping up with bold ideas on how to build those schools. The problem? Building a school is one of the hardest things an educator could ever try to do. At ASU Prep, we are always innovating, so we began to wonder, what if we didn't just innovate and build schools ourselves? What if we could help hundreds of educators build them? The ASU Prep Microschool Entrepreneur Fellowship turns isolated microschool founders into a supported national pipeline of school creators. We provide the mentorship, ASU Prep digital curriculum, and all the tools and resources to set them up for success. In just 2 cohorts, 47 fellows from more than 30 states have launched or scaled microschools that have impacted over 1,500 students. And the best part, we're just getting started.
Good evening. We are Lynn and Jimmy from Gwinnett County Public Schools, and we are here because the future isn't waiting, so neither are we.
We are proud to be the first in the country to launch an embedded K-12 AI-ready learning model for everyone. Yes, everyone. We've partnered with industry and our community to design the skills needed to thrive in a tech-infused society. We aren't just teaching kids about AI. We are transforming them into responsible users, decision makers, developers, and advocates for their future.
Each and every student gets access to future-ready learning by integrating our AI-ready framework into all subjects and grade levels. All students must be swimmers. They have to understand AI and the workforce skills of the future. Most students need to snorkel. They are proficient and ethical leaders with AI. Some students will scuba. They will develop the AI solutions of tomorrow.
And our focus is not on the technology, it's on the students. We are empowering them to move from passive consumers to empowered citizens.
In Gwinnett, we're not just preparing for the future, we are building it.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Burak Yilmaz, Director of Instruction with Harmony Public Schools. We are a public charter network operating 75 schools, serving 50,000 families across Texas. I focus on the pedagogy, the why behind student learning.
And I'm Yen, Director of EdTech. I focus on the how, architecting the AI system that scaled this learning to 50,000 students across Texas.
Nationally, 72% of fourth graders with disabilities score at below basic reading levels. At Harmony, we refuse to accept that as a permanent reality. So we asked, what if AI wasn't a way to bypass thinking, but instead a way to supercharge it?
In our classrooms, we didn't just move the needle, we've erased the gap. We saw a 47% gain in our SPED students and a 25% in our emergent bilingual on the state interim assessment.
We achieved this by escaping the AI efficiency trap. Without the right safeguards in place, most students use AI as a shortcut. So we pioneered a pedagogical reversal called the Human First, AI Second cycle.
We've built an ecosystem of over 50 custom AI tools where students are trained to ask for a ladder, not a lift. We ensure the human remains the primary thinker.
We've proven this impact on our pilot campuses, and we are now scaling this project to all 75 Harmony schools across Texas, where the future of AI is indeed the human core. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Josephine Boavenaz, and my father used to tell me growing up, see a life for yourself without ceilings. Today, as superintendent of Queens South High Schools, one of the most diverse districts in New York City, that belief drives everything that we do. Because too often, opportunity in education is limited to zip codes and the walls of a school building. And so we asked one simple question: what if we removed the walls? That is how STEM in the South was born. Innovation sites across our district where all students can take career credential courses leading to certifications in fields like droning, aviation, cybersecurity, not just at their own school, but across schools, ensuring future economic security. 6 sites and 300 scholars turned into 16 sites serving over 1,000 scholars. Because when you remove barriers to access, you don't just expand programs, you expand possibility. And when students see what is possible for their future, they begin to see a life without ceilings. That is STEM in the South.
Hello. Today, everyone is talking about AI education, and yet most of the things that we see are oftentimes reactive and very short-term. We decided to do this differently and try to build a proactive and future-proof approach. I am Susanna, and this is Hasmik. We're coming all the way from Armenia, and we represent the Generation AI program, which is a network of national schools that are educating the future AI innovators in the country. Today, this is a program available in the entire country to kids in more than 19 cities, providing advanced AI education to any students regardless of their family income or geography. And we have done this with a public and private partnership with more than 40 partners engaged and experts from Google, MIT, Meta, etc. So today we have proved that this can work in one national system, and the question is, when can we make this reach as many kids as possible globally? Thank you.
So thank you to all of our impact finalists. We are so incredibly honored to be able to celebrate the impact that you are already driving in your communities, in your districts, and in your schools. Similar to the idea category, our judges had time to deliberate and they selected 2 finalists to move forward to do their pitches. So if I say your name, please step forward. The first school to move forward to our pitch is New York City Public Schools, Queens South High Schools. And the second school is Bahagashpat High School and National Generation AI Schools. Thank you again to all of our finalists. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, New York City.
At 14 years old, my vision for my future wasn't limited by my ability. It was limited by my exposure. I couldn't imagine what I had never seen, because where I grew up in South Jamaica, Queens, New York, those opportunities weren't always visible. And when you can't see it, it's hard to become it. Today, I have the privilege of serving as the superintendent in the very community that raised me, serving over 23,000 brilliant scholars across 30 high schools. Our students are diverse. Many are first generation, many from economically disadvantaged households, but yet their potential is limitless. Collaboration, opportunity, access. We began to examine what it would look like to redesign a system where opportunity is shared and not siloed. That is how STEM in the South was born, a STEAM center without walls, without ceilings. We built a network of innovation sites across our district where students can access and choose to explore career-connected learning in CTE, technology, and healthcare pathways, not just at their schools, but across schools. Using cross-campus scheduling, digital platforms for data analysis, and industry partnerships, we removed the traditional barriers that limit access and replaced them with a model built on connectivity and choice. But what makes this work different is not that it's just about access, it's about interconnectedness. It's the belief that when one school has something powerful, it doesn't stay there, it becomes available to all. And a student in one building can now access opportunities that didn't exist in their schools. And that shift from ownership to shared access changes everything. We built this alongside our schools with our principals, teachers, and students helping to design and refine the work. We collaborated with our elected officials and worked with our Office of Student Pathways to ensure that this just isn't innovative, but sustainable. And in just 2.5 years, we've grown from 6 sites serving 300 scholars to 16 sites serving over 1,200, with approximately 1,000 industry credentials on track for this year alone. But the real impact isn't just in the numbers. It's what students now believe is possible. They're not just preparing for their future, they're stepping into it. And here's what we've learned. When you design systems with students, not just for them, and build them to share opportunity, not contain it, you don't create talent, you unleash it. And it brings me back to a belief that has guided my life, to see a life without ceilings. Because when students don't just imagine their future, but experience it, ceilings don't just disappear. They were never there to begin with. And our journey continues. We've impacted over 1,200 students. 23,000 is in our care. Will you join us in removing ceilings for every child?
In most countries, advanced AI education is still a privilege. It's limited to private schools, urban areas, and often is extracurricular. So in Armenia, we asked ourselves, what if we make advanced AI education available and affordable at scale? At FAST Foundation, after more than a decade of working in AI education, we understood that after-school programs are not going to solve the problem. And also, teaching AI literacy is just not enough. So we have built a different program. A Generation AI is a national model that brings advanced AI education directly into public schools. It's free of charge inside the system and designed to be globally competitive. We have created a program that nurtures future innovators. What makes this work is simple. First, we have created a methodology that helps teach complicated stuff not to the few, but to the many. Second, we bring AI experts to teach in the schools. And the third thing, we have created public school network that is available to all regions regardless of geography or income. And the hardest part is not the curricula design or even the teacher training. It is the coordination. Because when you talk to educators and the industry, they perceive AI education completely differently because they have different objectives. So we have created a bridge, a model where the government, schools, and industry can align and commit to something that is rigorous, but at the same time feasible. And this model works, and today we have a student with us who represents that journey.
When I was in middle school, I really liked coding, but I never had strong foundations in math or Python. And since I'm from small regional city, I thought that AI was a field for other people, mostly for boys, not for someone like me. However, when I joined the Generation AI program, everything changed. Step by step, I built my foundation in math, Python, neural networks, and machine learning, which later helped me build many projects, one of which is an AI application that helps high school students choose their studies based on the challenges I faced myself when I was choosing a university. Before, I thought AI might replace me. Now, I feel ready to create with it. And most importantly, it changed my perspective on what is possible as a girl from a small city with little technological advances.
What Hasmik is describing is not an exception. This is a structural change that we're seeing with this program in many regions. And we see a lot of measurable impact with this. We see that our students perform 2 times better than their peers are doing. Girls are performing as good and sometimes better than boys. And kids from rural areas are performing as good as kids from the capital city. So we have proved that this model is working and AI education can be not urban, elite, or extracurricular, but available for the many. So what we have built in Armenia is something that can be replicable in the world, and we are proud to be the only non-US finalist here in a hope that this can be expanded to many other partners. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's hear it again for our finalists. While our judges deliberate, we're honored to spotlight a global organization that deeply believes in educator-led innovation. Squirrel AI learning systems around the world, and they share our belief that when educators lead, transformation follows. So please join me in welcoming Derek Haoyang Lee to the stage.
I think either lucky or unlucky, we live in a time that AI clashes us fearlessly, especially on education, which is a sector with a system that moved very slow in the past. But we already see that in this showcase, a lot of leaders and the pioneers, they want to change this sector to use AI tools or made the learners to accustomed to the AI time, how to adapt to this change. But it is hard still because we do not know what job in what time AI will replace. And we do not know what skill the kids, the new learners, they need in the future, because it's all happened too soon. It's not like that in the past 200 years, machine, take humans' job of our muscles gradually, by 20 decades. But I guess, in less than 2 decades, AI will take most of the human job, maybe 90% of them, of our brain. So how to deal with all of this? I was among all these people who are worried about this and who want to make change about this. So 12 years before, I started Squirrel AI learning so that we could Actually, we want to build an AI virtual tutor for K-12 students so that all the students can have the best teaching quality. My father was a super teacher, which is a title that the Chinese government gave to one teacher out of 3,000. But when I was young, I think, why can't every kid have the super teacher around them? So after my father retired, he was invited by the after-school tutoring company. They paid him like $1,000 per hour to share his experience. And when I was young, I see every year more than hundreds of the New Year's greeting cards coming to my father from the student he had taught, no matter like how long, like 10 years or 20 years they already graduate and already have family. They thank my father to help them to change their life. And so I think if I can use AI to build a super teacher like my father, so every kid can have the same and best teaching quality. So in the past 12 years, we spent billions on R&D, and until now, we have more than 50 million students registrants, and by more than 100 efficacy studies, our teaching effect outperformed the experienced teachers with more than 20 years experience and a lot of super teachers, including my father. So, and also along our revenue, rapid growth revenue, we donated 12 million free accounts for the poor families. I think we should have all the kids in the new generation, they can have the best teaching quality. And so why we established this standard working group on LLM agent of AI-powered education is because I think it is not one person's job to deal with all the changes in education. I want to gather all the wisdom people, all the trailblazers, which is on this page, and all the other leaders who have their experience in either research or in-field practice in AI education. Each one of them have their, a lot of effort and more experience even than me on different part of AI education. I want to gather all of them together and gather all the wisdom together and to help all the researchers and all the education practitioners to understand better what is the future of the education. So now I want to introduce another person who want to join us together using AI to help the kids who's coming from one of the biggest service chain for the community, YMCA, and he is CEO of the Great Whittier, Kurt Stoknicki.
Thank you. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the YMCA of Greater Whittier for a moment. We're a suburb of that greater city up north of here called LA County and Los Angeles. So if you haven't heard of the Greater Whittier area, we invite you to come over there. But one of the things that we're doing, we service 9 school districts in our service area of the YMCA. That service area incorporates about 50 different elementary and middle schools. So one of the things is we're working with our wraparound services and delivering our after-school programs, our summer school programs, and then also our summer camps. We're talking to school districts about the performance, and the performances with the schools as far as their math skills and English skills, core competency areas are not things that traditionally from the YMCA that we do more than just generalized tutoring. after-school tutoring and the one-on-one or one-on-5, one-on-6 type of tutoring. What we found is that the scalability of that is very difficult in the landscape of finding qualified staff, and then also from a cost perspective of finding that qualified staff for that intensive labor that is needed for that tutoring. So what we are doing is partnering with Squirrel AI. We'll be launching an efficacy study this summer in all of our wraparound services. We'll be doing it in our summer school programs on sites of the school districts that we service. We'll also be doing it on a couple of our standalone facilities at the Y, where we'll be embedding that into our summer camp program. One of the things that we want to continue to do is keep fostering the core academic areas and know in talking to our various school districts that that's one of the things that is at the forefront of their need. With proficiency comes attendance, and those are some of the things that in the communities that we service, that is one of their biggest need areas. So thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Actually, Kurt tell me today that when he come to ASU+GSV, he found more AI education companies that he can cooperate other than Squirrel AI. And I really want like all centers of YMCA all over US to try all kinds of the method, because we are in the dark. We do not know what is right, what is wrong, and the worst thing is we stand still, right? Whatever we do, we will help the learners, help the educators to know what is in the future. And next, I will introduce a renowned scholar who is an AI professor in Cornell and also the former president of AI, Bart Selman. Let's welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm the representative for the Association for the Advancement of Artificial Intelligence. This is the main professional organization for AI researchers and practitioners. And one of our goals is to stimulate or to advocate for projects in AI that have clear benefit to humanity. There's a long history in AI of studying AI for education, and it goes back to the early days of AI research. However, it's only with the introduction of the LLMs, the chatbots, the large language models, that suddenly this initiative of AI for education has become a reality. So we can now start developing systems, and we're seeing the first systems for that, that provide truly personalized tutoring and truly can provide a platform for lifelong learning, individualized learning. So this is a very exciting time for AI for education. One thing that we want to keep in mind is that in these platforms, we do want to keep the human at the center. So that the educator, the teachers, and the students, they should be at the center of the platform. AI should just be helping to support their learning. This is sometimes referred to in the AI world as human-centric AI. And it may seem somewhat obvious that the humans should be in the center, but with agentic AI, we now start seeing systems that develop their own goals and their own objectives. And there's a risk that they drift away from the human objective and the human interests. So this human-centric AI will be central to the development of the design principles and the guidelines that underlie these new systems. Now, Squirrel AI and related companies have recently shown there is a real potential to boost education worldwide using AI-based platforms. So this new initiative, IEEE initiative, under the leadership of Derek Lee, will help ensure that these type of platforms will benefit all of humanity and will be for the broader benefits of society, and it's an honor to be part of that. Thank you.
Okay, brother.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We are so grateful to Squirrel AI Learning for their partnership. This showcase also exists because of partners who believe in educator leadership. So we've asked each of our Powered by partners who have generously helped provide prizes for our finalists and winners to answer one simple question. In 1 minute, why does educator-led innovation matter right now? So please welcome the Powered by partners to the stage.
I'm Chris Marr, Superintendent in Residence. Thank you. Thank you, ASU+GSV. Woo! Superintendent in Residence at CombiR Education, where we are closing the gap between K-12 educators and entrepreneurs. To answer Julia's question, given the acceleration of technology, without the voices of stakeholders at the center of innovation, the disparities that already exist in our nation's schools will only grow exponentially. At CombiR, we equip the most talented K-12 system leaders with the skills they need to redesign their systems, and we connect them with mission-driven entrepreneurs who not only want to do well, but to do right by kids.
Good evening, everyone. My name is DeAndre Weaver, and I'm the Vice President and Chief Powerful Learning Officer at Digital Promise Global, where we work at the intersection of research, practice, and technology. We're proud to support this showcase because some of the best ideas in education do not start in boardrooms or at the policy level. They start in classrooms, in communities, and in conversations with young people and families. Educator-led innovations matters right now because the world our kids are growing up in currently is changing quickly. And schools cannot afford to respond with business as usual. The people closest to learners are the ones who see the gaps, feel the urgency, and understand what real engagement actually looks like. For me, this is personal. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, served at every level of K-12 education, and I know what it means to sit in classrooms with potential and promise and still need something more. I and the students I served over the last 2 decades needed learning that felt purposeful, learning that pulled us in, learning that sparked our curiosity and gave us agency, learning that made us believe that our ideas, our voices, and our futures mattered. That's why this matters today. When educators, students, and families help shape innovation together, we do not just create better ideas, we create better opportunities for kids to see themselves, to stay engaged, and to imagine a future bigger than their current circumstances.
Thanks, DeAndre. I'm Erin Moat. I'm the CEO of Innovate EDU that leads the Educating All Learners Alliance. We believe that all learners need to be empowered by policy, practice, and technology that's driven by educators. And here's the deal, y'all. For too long, the narrative of innovation in education has been something that happens to teachers, not with them. We see tools built in silos, designed by people who have never had to manage a classroom of 30 diverse learners who have to navigate the complexities of that student's data privacy, IEP services, who they are as a young person. But here is the reality. Innovation without educator leadership is just noise. When we talk about innovation, we aren't just talking about the latest AI or the new piece of software. We're talking about the fundamental design of opportunity. Educators are the only ones who truly understand the interoperability of a child's life, how a student's well-being, their academic data, and their personal spark all connect. If we want technology to actually close the equity gap, and I said it, the equity gap, instead of widening it, educators must be the primary architects. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Scott Fronheim, proud CEO of Leap Innovations. We're a national nonprofit focused on human-centered innovation and personalized learning. Educator-led innovation matters right now because the pace of change, especially with AI, is moving faster than our systems. And the people closest to the learning, educators and students and families, are best positioned to shape what comes next. At Leap, we design with, for, and by our students, educators, and communities from the very beginning. Because when students and educators talk, we must listen to them. That's how learning becomes relevant, engaging, and actually sticks. We also believe that arrival technology requires arrival pedagogy. We must continue to introduce new tools while evolving how we teach and learn, grounded in a clear why. EdTech and AI must enhance teaching and learning and personalize even further, never replacing strong relationships and powerful instruction, as well as the cognitive lift that learning requires. That's why LEAP is proud to support this Education Innovation Showcase and grateful to the innovators and all the leaders designing this work forward. Because when educators and students lead innovation, we don't just imagine the future, we build it together. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeremy Shore, and I lead emerging technology at Ties Global, a STEM consultancy that works with schools, businesses, nonprofits, communities, and ed tech builders. So connecting educators to what's being built for them is a big part of what we do. And here's the truth. Top-down rules can't keep pace. By the time a policy's written, the world has already changed twice. So the question is one of belief. Do we believe educators know what works best for kids? Teachers and principals see it every day. They know what sparks curiosity, what builds confidence, what actually helps students learn, and that kind of insight doesn't come from a report, it comes from lived professional experience. When we trust educators to lead, to pilot, to adapt, to shape what gets built, we get solutions that are faster, more practical, and actually usable. Not perfect, but real. This isn't just practical, it's moral. We can't keep making the mistake of the past by building systems that ignore the people closest to students. The future of education can't be designed for teachers, it has to be designed with them. Thank you.
Good evening, y'all. I'm Courtney Bell, and I'm from Transcend Education, where we partner with schools and community to reimagine learning environments so that all young people can thrive. I started this work as a school principal. I worked hard. My teachers worked hard. My students worked hard, and yet we still felt trapped. Top-down mandates can feel imposed and disconnected from the reality that we're in, and bottom-up efforts, they were exhausting, okay? We were running on passion and fumes, and we did not have the infrastructure to support or sustain that. So educator-led innovation matters right now because we believe in a third way. Not change done to schools, and not change that creates burnout in teachers because they're trying to do it alone, but a genuine partnership between community wisdom and research-based expertise coming together to design something new. And at Transcend, we call that community-based design. And I get the privilege and blessing of seeing what that works look like on a daily basis. Communities already have all the answers. They just need tools. They need expertise, and they need the space to act on them. So, Transcend believes that the future of education isn't something that happens to educators, as I believe everybody has now said. It's something that is built by them. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to our partners and for believing not only in this initiative, but believing in the educators who have worked diligently to bring their ideas forward. So now is the moment that we all have been waiting for. All right. The winner of our impact category is, can I get a little drum roll, y'all? Get a little energy going. New York City Public Schools, Queens High School. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right, I need one more drum roll because we're going to share the winner of the idea category. All right, the winner of the idea category is Infinite Minds. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. Tonight, we celebrated bold ideas, we celebrated proven impact, and we reminded everyone at this summit that this space, this room, this ecosystem, I'll say as a former educator, definitely belongs to those with the greatest proximity to our students and our communities. Please, please never let anyone forget that. Thanks for being here with us. We appreciate you all. Enjoy the rest of the summit.
you.